Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hamilton, Ohio, Joyce Park, site of this year's 2014 Easton JOAD Nationals. I'm Ted Rutan, joined by Sarah Bernstein. And Sarah, we've got an exciting competition for the juniors this year, over 600 participants.
I know, that's our most to date. Very exciting to see how much archery has grown in the United States the past few years, especially picking up after that boom in 2012 with the Hunger Games and Brave, and how popular it was in the Olympics in London. And it's great to see the level of competition that's raised out here, and there's a lot of new faces, and it'll definitely be an exciting competition today to see what happens. We are over on the compound field where, you know, a lot of the game is just about precision and hitting the 10 as many times as you can. So,
well, in our first match right here, we have cadets, boys, that's 15 to 17 years old on the compound. We have Tyler Boogaard, who came in as the 21st seed from Michigan. Tyler in the dark green, and in the bright, in the neon, is Samuel White. Samuel comes in as a 12th seed from Colorado.
one thing that's really fun with archery now is how customizable it is, that you can really change up your equipment as much as you want to be like very personal. And we'll see, you know, Samuel's arrows are as neon as his shirt, which I appreciate. I like that color coordination. And he did open the match with a 9, Tyler with an 8.
Again, with the compound competition, is cumulative scoring. For the cadets, it is a distance of 50 meters and an 80 centimeter target face. 5 3-arrow ends. So a possible total of 150 cumulative points.
So every arrow here really counts and will make a difference in what happens in the end. So Tyler has what appears to be a 9.87, while we have a 10.99 for Samuel White.
So looks like a good start here for Samuel White. Again, as always, we will wait for the official scoring because, well, that's when it's official.
Absolutely. You know, the targets are 50 meters away, 80 centimeter face, so sometimes back here it's a little bit hard to tell for sure. So we'll, you know, get the official scores when they go down. And
so they will move on down to collect their arrows and get their final score here for the first end. Wind at about 10 miles an hour right now, I believe, out of the southwest.
this wind is definitely going to play more of a factor now with our youth archers than what we saw this morning with our senior archers, because definitely, like, the more weight you're pulling on your bow, like, you know, your higher poundage, the wind's going to affect you less. And we have, you know, younger archers out here who potentially the wind could be much more of a factor for them. The wind is also definitely a lot stronger right now than anything we were seeing this morning. They were pretty fortunate that it was picking up between ends and then dying down when the archers stepped up to the shooting line, so it'd be nice if that would continue.
I'm sure the folks at home can hear the wind whipping through our mics. Hey, glad you're joining us here. I want to thank USA Archery. Teresa Johnson just done a fantastic job coordinating all this. A lot of effort put into this national championship.
Absolutely. Out here in Ohio again, this field has been a great home to us for a few years now, and we're lucky to be out here again.
So we will see what the Archers flip over there. We have a 28 officially for Samuel White and a 24 for Tyler Boogaard.
4-point lead is definitely a solid start. It's going to, be interesting to see if Tyler can come back from that. That's got to be, a little intimidating, but there's still 4 more ends.
Yeah, still 12 more arrows, so it's...
anything can happen out here.
We saw several lead changes in the seniors event. Not as many once we got officials from across the way asking about a red light.
Just making sure the timer's working properly. It is. So these archers are given 120, or a minute and 20 seconds to shoot 3 arrows. That's 40 seconds per arrow. So with this win, you'll see them potentially taking some time to wait it out, make sure they get the most optimal conditions for their shot.
A little slower pace when we have this full a field at one time, correct? Because that's just gonna take longer to make sure everyone gets down, gets their scores, and gets back before we can start the next end, correct?
Well, we do have over 600 JOAD archers competing out here this weekend, and maybe the time's cut down a little bit because some of the targets are a little bit closer with the younger age group distances. But definitely, I think the day starts out slower, and hopefully it'll pick up a little bit. My mom used to call these days the hurry up and wait game, because you gotta rush as much as you can to shoot your arrows in that super short time frame, and then you just wait. And it's a lot to keep up your mental game during that waiting time, because you have time to get distracted or focus on things you were doing wrong and not necessarily everything you were doing right. So it's another big component of making it out here is having that mental game to deal with your own thoughts even.
And it looks like we are about to have our final pair get back. So the officials look to clear the field. Looks like they are good to go.
So for people who are new to watching this, our compound archers are shooting 5 ends of 3 arrows for a cumulative score. Perfect score being 150 points. And the highest scoring archer will advance. Which is a little bit different from our recurve archers on our other channel that you can check out, who are shooting set system, which is a little bit different, where you shoot 3 arrows again, but the highest score of those 3 arrows will take 2 set points, and if you tie it, you each get 1, and you're working just towards 6 set points, so it is not always 5 ends to a match.
So now we have the okay to get this next end underway.
That's a 10 for Tyler. And a 10 as well for Samuel, it looks like.
Good start here in this second end.
I think the wind calmed down a little bit. They probably both found their stride a bit more, so definitely a strong start for both archers this end. A 9 for Samuel and a 9 as well for Tyler. So keeping things interesting over here. Samuel retains his 4-point lead going into the 6th arrow of the match. 9 for Tyler and a 9 also for Samuel. So tied scores this end.
Looks like another 28 this time for Samuel and a 28 for Tyler.
Really great scores out here so far. So.
And right now it appears that the wind is directly behind them, so a tailwind.
Yes, which tends to make the arrows go a little bit higher on the target, so I'm sure they're adjusting for that, you know, whether by aiming off or moving their sights. You know, when the wind is more consistent but blowing in one direction, sometimes archers will choose to adjust their sights. But if it's more variable, like changing around directions, they will typically just aim off. If you're out here listening to the sounds and you hear the recurve archers are shooting their arrows off a little bit faster, another difference between the compound and recurve archery is that the compound bows do have a let off. So when they're at full draw, they're not holding the full weight, the full draw weight of the bow, where recurve archers, the further you pull back, the heavier your bow gets. So they can hold for a little bit longer and make sure that they're definitely set before they release.
Just that last time on the third arrow, Samuel held it for quite some time.
Yes, and they can do that. And they also, another difference is with compound, you can have a magnifying sight, so you can get a little bit up closer in the target, make sure you're aiming exactly where you want it to be. So it becomes a bit more of a precision game than the recurve shooting. You know, it's more how many times can you. You know, for a recurve, it's how many times do you hit the 10, and compound, it's how many times do you, not miss the 10.
And yet, that's without trying to say that one is tougher than the other. They both have.
No, just very,
yes,
different mentalities on what you're going for and what we're looking for in scores out here. So that's why the cumulative score is, definitely working for the compound, because it is so much more about that precision.
So we'll see if they can. Samuel has already moved his score up to 56, so he did have another 28.
And a 52 for Tyler, so Samuel does keep that 4-point lead.
So again, each with 28 in that second end. We've had all types of weather today, most of it good. We had very pleasant early, then storms.
It is a nice day to be outside, though. On the most part, I would have to agree.
Then some sun, and now it's a little overcast. Hopefully no more rain on the way today.
A lot of times you see like national and world records shot in overcast weather like this. If the wind just calmed down a little bit more, we could definitely expect to see some very, very high scores out here today.
So 56-52. Samuel White, again, came in as the 12th seed. Sam from Colorado. If he was out there last week, he's used to some stormy weather. Had the pleasure of being out there for another event and stormed 6 days in a row after being 90 and sunny all morning in the early part of the afternoon.
My goodness. One thing that's cool about archery is we will shoot in any conditions. If it's raining or hail or snow or fog, the only thing that will hold up an archery competition is if there's lightning. So,
and we had that happen here this morning.
We did.
But the delay was well managed, I think, and people were ready to go once it was time to get back on the fields.
Yep, and you can hear that the wind is definitely blowing harder now, so we'll see how that affects our archers.
And looks like we are about set to get on with the end number 3. Looks like they're waiting for the other field to clear as well.
Both archers do look ready to go, though.
So now we're ready to get going with end number 3.
After that 2-whistle signal, the archers get 10 seconds to step up to the shooting line before they begin shooting.
And that does start the time right there.
And both archers are holding with the wind. Tyler opens up with a 9.
Ooh.
And a 10 and X for Samuel.
Nice
so he
there.
picks up another point right there. It's an 8 for Tyler. Ten 9 liner looks like a 10 for Samuel.
Tyler can split those first 2. It would be pretty good.
Finishes out with a 10-10-10 for Sam, so that's perfect score. And also a 10 as well for Tyler.
So we'll see what they...
Nice third shots for both archers. I guess they figured out the wind a little bit. Still with 6 arrows to go, you know. A lot can happen.
But it does look like Samuel White will pad his lead at least slightly.
Picking up a couple extra points this set on top of his 4-point lead, so it's got to give him a little bit of confidence going into the last 2 sets. I think for me at least, like, there's the most like personal just nerves during the first match, because you know you're just still getting warmed up and figuring out your rhythm for the day and getting into your stride, and then you kind of calm down a little bit. So
So we will check the scores. I think you had it at 10-10-10 and 10-9-8. We'll see. I think you're probably right. You're confident, right?
Fairly confident. Got 2015 vision, but you know, scope only shows so much.
So after this match, we will have a massive field change.
Could cause a slight delay out here, which is more of that waiting game we were talking about. So
I think they have to move more than 80 of the targets, they said.
And that's just on the west field, so
well, we know that our particular target on lanes 1 and 2, targets 1 and 2, will be moved up to the 30 meters. As long as our schedule holds true, we will have Cub Girls Compound, the 1/16th round coming up. So right now it is 86-79, as you called it.
It'll definitely, you know, be hard to come back 7 points at this point, but it's not unheard of.
So far, I've been impressed. You must have learned well from your coach, Derek Davis. Derek was with us here on the compound lanes in the morning, early out in the U.S. Open for the seniors, and he was, I believe, pretty close to 100% on his calls on the scoring. And so far, you are right there with him.
I do have a couple years of practice under my belt, so.
So not only the scoring, but the addition. You probably have good math classes there at Columbia?
Yeah, I was an English major for my first 2 years. Kind of skipped all the math stuff, but. And you're not using a calculator or a smartphone right now. I'll test. So at the end of 3 ends, it's 86-79. Samuel White, impressive, 28-28-30. It is definitely a very strong start.
Still a few folks
wandering back from the targets. You know, archers are always careful to walk, not run back. You know, with an arrow full of quivers, you don't want any accidents out here. So, and you know, archery is a very safe sport. It's been commended for that. There's not that many injuries out here, but they do a lot to keep it safe. So,
I had a chance to talk with the athletic trainer on site both yesterday and today, and asked, you know, have you been busy? And she said, not really.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
I know. I talked to the trainer who was here on Thursday as well, and she agreed. She said, you know, 2 people came over for like a Band-Aid, but not from archery related things. I think someone had a blister.
Might have been sporting some new shiny shoes.
Perhaps. There is a lot of style on the field today.
All right, we are ready for the 4th end now. Let's see if there's any chance that Tyler Boogaard can make up some ground. It'll probably take an error by Samuel White, and I don't see that really coming.
I would be surprised. All right, and Tyler opens with a 9/8 liner. A 9/8 liner for Sam as well. Looks to be pretty clearly a 9. An 8 for Tyler. Both arrows a little bit low. We'll see if he adjusts for the 3rd one.
Looks like Samuel adjusted on that 2nd one.
Drilled a nice 10, possibly an X. It looks like Samuel's ready to go on that 3rd arrow before Tyler, so probably finish out the set, this end. With a 9. So it appears to be another 28 for White. into 9 as well for Tyler Boogaard.
So perhaps a 26 and a 28.
26 or yeah.
I mean, we got
possibly.
a couple lines up there. We're gonna
Could be a 25. I'm not sure.
We will let the official scoring guide
Whatever
us
it
here.
is, Samuel's increasing his lead. So.
Now, a question for you, Sarah. Samuel's left-handed. Is that because he's left-handed, or is that because his right eye's dominant?
It is definitely more of an eye dominance. If he is shooting left-handed, he is left eye dominant, most likely. Some archers who are left eye dominant and right-handed will still choose to shoot right-handed just because it's a little bit easier to find equipment sometimes. But yeah, eye dominance plays more of a factor out here than hand dominance.
So they'll gather these up. We'll take a look at their scores, and as soon as we get those, we're going to take a short break and come right back for the 5th and final end. Tyler and Samuel going over it together.
Each archer will call the other archer's arrow values, and they both record them to make sure there are no errors in math or scoring or anything.
Then, of course, they mark them.
And that means they're putting a little tick mark next to each arrow. So in the, unlikely occurrence out here, but it is a possibility of either a bounce out or a pass through, a bounce out where the arrow hits the target and does not stick into the bail, or a pass through where it goes entirely straight through the bail. The judge would be able to look for the unmarked hole, and the archer still gets the value of the shot arrow.
And we saw that in one of our final matches in the senior side, where it did go through.
Huh.
We kept looking for the 3rd and final arrow, and they had to get it as it had gone through. So
wow,
it does happen, and that's why they mark them.
I was over in the recurve lane, and we saw archers, lubricating their arrows to make it easier to pull out because the bails were so tough.
So at the end of 4 ends, it's 114 for Samuel White and 105 for Tyler Boogaard. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back with the 5th and final end of this match. Glad you're joining us for the 2014 Easton JOAD Nationals. All right, welcome back to Hamilton, Ohio, Joyce Park. I'm Ted Rutan, joined by Sarah Bernstein. And Sarah, we're down to our 5th and final 3-arrow end. Samuel White in control with a 114-105 lead. It would take a major error, and I don't think Samuel White has that in him.
He does not seem to be letting up at all. He's been very on top of his game through this whole match. So
328. Yeah, 328s and a 30.
That's a nice cushion to leave yourself, to have 9-point lead heading into the last 3 arrows. He's got to be feeling pretty good right now, just maybe using this last set as practice for the next match already, probably looking ahead to that.
5th and final end for the match. About to get underway, and then we'll have to see if there are any ties and those shoot-offs. And here we go, final end of the match here at the Easton.
So here we go, final end in this match. Of course, over there on the recurve lanes, it's 5-3.
the recurve archers have each already shot an arrow before either of the compound shooters. Tyler lets go the first arrow, and it's a 10, probably an X, so that's nice, and also a 10 for Samuel. So that does not change anything yet. 2 arrows to go. Another 10 for Samuel.
That will pretty
and
much...
another 10X for Tyler, actually almost in the same hole as the first arrow. I didn't even see it land because they're touching so closely.
Great way to finish out this last one, and really looks to basically...
It's definitely something, you know, you aim for in archery. No pun intended, but, you know, to get the tightest groups you can, and that really means your shots are as consistent as possible. And when you do the exact same thing under the exact same conditions, the arrows are going to go in the same place as long as your equipment is tuned, which is another thing that archers work on. So that was another perfect 30 for Samuel. 10-10-10 for a solid finish, not letting up an inch, and also a 10-10-10 for Tyler. So both archers go out with a 30. You know, it's got to be hard when you shoot that 30 and then you're game over for Tyler, but what a way to, you know, close it out, give it his all, and he never gave up. Samuel took that early 4-point lead and retained it and increased it through the entire match. That was really impressive shooting with the, you know, 3 28s and 2 30s.
So well done by Samuel White. He will move on. Tyler Boogaard, you know, he started off with a 24. That didn't get it, you know, he was 4 down after the first end, and that just made it tough on him, because Samuel White, there was no let up in his game today.
Yeah, and you know, maybe he wasn't warmed up enough yet or hadn't figured out the win, but that's the game. You got to be on points at all times.
Also, the fact that they're on the broadcast lanes could have some nerves.
You know, I'm sure for these younger archers, this is very possibly the first time that they're shooting on, you know, televised broadcasts, and that absolutely has to add some pressure. You know, they've got their families here with them, and
hey, friends back home.
Friends back home are able to watch. I know I posted this on my Facebook this morning, and I've had texts from friends coming in.
Folks in New York checking it out.
Yep.
Jersey.
My mom told me I sound professional.
I think your mom is very,
I might have
very,
just
very
ruined
wise.
that.
Very wise. So it looks like we're going to just mark it down as a 144-135 win here for Samuel White in this match. And we'll see if we can get a chance to talk to
Mr. White.
And maybe even Tyler as well. We're going to have time because there is going to be some major
field change-ups going on.
Field change, yeah. So we might get a chance to talk to each of them.
That'd be great.
So let's take a short break right now, Sarah, and when we come back, we'll see if we could have a word with our winner of the first match, Samuel White, and also with Tyler Boogaard. Welcome back to the 2014 Easton JOAD Nationals. We're joined now by Tyler Boogaard. Tyler from around Lansing, Michigan, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Now, is this your first chance to be here at the Easton JOAD Nationals?
Yeah, I've been at the indoor nationals, but this is my first outdoor national competition.
So what was it like for you? I mean, this was also the biggest junior competition that we've had.
This is the most targets I've seen in one area at once. It's been a great experience. I got to talk to the USA national coach, Kissick Lee. That was pretty cool.
You came in with a 21st seed, and this time you ran into Samuel White, and he was just hot.
Yep. He was hot all the way through, pretty consistent. I just couldn't get it till the end there, so winner takes it.
And you finished out with a 30 on that last end, so that's got to make you feel good.
Yeah, it's good that I ended on a good note. My coach will like that.
All right. Well, congratulations, Tyler, on a successful week here at the Easton JOAD Nationals.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Samuel White here in just a moment on CoachesAid.com. All right, welcome back to Joyce Park in Hamilton, Ohio, the 2014 Easton JOAD Nationals. We're joined by Samuel White from Colorado. What part of Colorado, Sam?
Thornton, Colorado.
And have you been to the Nationals before?
Yes, last year.
So this is your second time here?
Yeah.
And you came in as a 12th seed, and you really had it going here in this first elimination match here.
Yeah.
328s and 230s.
Oh, yeah, that's...
And you got off to that 4-point lead in that first inning, so
Yeah.
that gave you some confidence there when you had a little margin to work with.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful, and then that helped me a lot.
The wind, not much of a factor in this one?
Well, in Colorado, there's a lot of wind, so I kind of got used to that.
Yeah, having been out there last week, there was a lot of wind with some storms out there.
Yeah.
All right, well, Sam, congratulations on this win, and good luck in your future matches today.
Thank you.
All right, Samuel White from Thornton, Colorado.